So here the writer, he is telling that how he had an experience with Einstein there, and Einstein very eager and very sincere, whatever in the field he liked it. So when he was very young, once the writer was invited to dine for the dinner in a very distinguished or famous personality in New York, and he was the philanthropist. Philanthropist means the person who gives a lot of money to help the poor. Means he was a rich man and he used to give lot of money to the poor people. So that is the philanthropist. After dinner, our hostess led us to an enormous drawing room. So after lunch, they were taken to a big drawing room there. Other guests were pouring in, and my eyes beheld two unnerving sights. So here the writer is talking, other guests were also there coming. But his eyes beheld two unnerving sights. Unnerving means the sights which is upset, made him upset. And that was the servants were arranging small gilt chairs in long neat rows. So servants, they were arranging the chairs, and the chairs were of golden color. They were arranging in the long neat rows, and up front leaning against the wall were musical instruments. So these were the two sides. First the servants were arranging the chairs, the golden chairs, and there were musical instruments kept on the other side. Apparently, I was in for an evening of chamber music. So now he understood that here he was called because now he has to hear the music sitting in this chamber, in this room. So that was there. So writer was little bit upset. And why he was upset? Because he didn't like the music at all. He was not at all interested in music. And whenever you will see the musical instruments or all things, means you will find out that now classical music will be there. So classical music, the people, those who don't understand the music, that is boring for them. I use the phrase in for because music meant nothing to me. So I was in for an evening of chamber. The last line you will see it. I was in. Now here I was to hear the chamber music, and that word he used because music music doesn't create any interest for him. I am almost tone deaf. Now for music, he is tone deaf means he couldn't speak of the music, and whatever he is hearing the music, he couldn't understand it. Only with great effort can I carry the simplest tune. The serious music was to me no more than the arrangement of noises. So he's telling that the simplest tune, whatever I hear it, I used to sing, I used to carry on that. Yes, I can hear the very simple music tunes there. But this serious music that I can't tolerate, and that is just the arrangement of noise. Some noise is going on, and I'm hearing some noise that is just for me whenever there is any classical or the serious music. So I did what I always did when trapped. So when I am trapped, when I am caught in this situation, so I did the same what I used to do. I sat down, and when the music started, I fixed my face in what I hoped was an expression of intelligent appreciation. So he said that I sat down and I fixed my face. I gave such an expression that I was really admiring the music, closed my ears from the inside and submerged myself in my own completely irrelevant thoughts. So he said, I closed my ears from inside. Why inside? Because you cannot close the ears from outside. So he closed the ears, and he got submerged himself. Submerged means he was totally drowned and totally caught in all the irrelevant thoughts, the thoughts which were not at all useful, but still that thoughts. And I started neglecting what was the music going on there. After a while, becoming aware that the people around me were applauding, I concluded it was safe to unplug my ears. So after some time, he found that the people were clapping and they were applauding, praising the person for the music there. So he also thought now I should unplug my ears. So at once I heard a gentle but surprisingly penetrating voice on my right. So the person who was sitting right to him, suddenly he heard some voice from the person who is sitting just to him. You are fond of batch, the voice said. So I also started as others applauded. So I also started applauding or clapping there. So the person who was next to me, he asked me the question, you are fond of batch? Batch, a musician. I knew as much about batch as I know about nuclear fission. So now he is telling I don't know anything about the batch. जितना मुझे मालूम है, that is about the nuclear fission. I don't know anything about the batch. But I did know one of the most famous faces in the world with the renowned shock of untidy white hair and the ever-present pipe between the teeth. So he told the person whom I was talking, he was the most renowned person and with the untidy white hair and always there is a pipe between his teeth. So his hair was untidy there and the pipe was between his teeth. So I knew this person, he was most famous. So I was sitting next to Albert Einstein. So he found that he is sitting next to Albert Einstein. So well, I said uncomfortably and I hesitated. So he only answered well. Means, are you fond of batch? He said, well, okay. I had been asked a casual question. So that was really a casual question. All I had to do was be equally casual in my reply. And I also wanted to be casually there in reply. But I could see from the look in my neighbor's extraordinary eyes that their owner was not merely going through the perfunctory duties of the elementary politeness. So I also politely answered, well, but I came to know that this man sitting next to me, Albert Einstein, is not at all satisfied with my well answer. And now he is doing without real interest, he understood that I am telling the answer. That is the perfunctory duties of elementary politeness. Regardless of what value I placed on my part in the verbal exchange, to this man, his part in it mattered very much. So while answering what was my role, I don't know, but this man, when Albert Einstein was asking me a question, that was of great importance to me because he was very serious about music and I was not at all serious about music. Above all, I could feel that this man was a man to whom you did not tell a lie. So he understood that this is the man to whom you couldn't lie, however small. Whether your lie is small or large, you shouldn't lie to this man, Albert Einstein, because he understood from his expression of the eyes of the Albert Einstein that he understood what is the meaning of the well there. I don't know anything about batch, I said awkwardly. So after answering well and getting the expression from Albert Einstein, he told the truth that I don't know anything about batch. I said awkwardly, I have never heard any of his music. So he answered, I have never heard his music. I don't know anything about the batch. What are you talking about? A look of perplexed astonishment washed across Einstein's mobile face. Why mobile? So his face was giving very quick expression. So there was perplexed astonishment. Perhaps very confusing surprise was there. So means that you don't know about batch. That was a very confusing surprise there. It isn't that I don't want to like batch, I replied hastily. It's just that I am tone deaf. Doesn't matter that I didn't like batch, but I am tone deaf. I don't like music and the music doesn't interest me anymore. Or almost tone deaf, or I have never really heard anybody's music. Okay, it means that I have never heard the music of batch, and I have no interest. So I am tone deaf about the music. A look of concern came into the old man's face. Concern is little bit worried about this man. So this old man, Albert Einstein, was worried now. Please, he said abruptly, you will come with me. Now Albert Einstein asked this man, the writer, to come to go with him. He stood up and took my arm. So Albert Einstein, very active, so he stood up and he took his arm. I stood up as he led me across that crowded room. I kept my embarrassed glance fixed on the carpet. So this man, Albert Einstein, took this, catching his arm, he took him from the very crowded room. He took him to the other room and now this man was feeling ashamed, so he was totally looking towards the carpet. A rising murmur of puzzled speculation followed us out into the hall. So all the people who were sitting there, they were watching all these things going on. So they were having a very puzzled speculation, means guessing. Why Albert Einstein? Because Albert Einstein was very famous, so everyone knew Albert Einstein. So why Albert Einstein is carrying this man? Is he a thief or someone because he's carrying a man? Is he a thief or someone else or very important to Albert Einstein? So Albert Einstein is taking him. So why? So such type of guessings were there among the public who were present in the hall. Now, resolutely he led me upstairs. So what is that? After that he decided to take me to the upstairs. He obviously knew the house well because this Albert Einstein knew the house where to go, and on the floor above he opened the door into a book-lined study, drew me in and shut the door. So that was when he opened the door, it was a book-lined study room as it was lining in a lining where all things were kept there, and he shut the door. He closed the door there, and now these two personalities were inside the room. Now he said with a small troubled smile. Now there was a smile, but with a troubled smile, he said, "You will tell me, please, how long you have felt this way about music." So now you will tell me this way, how long you felt, what are your feelings about the music till now? So this was the question. All my life I said feeling awful. Well, yes, all my life I was feeling awful little bit. I wish you would go back downstairs and listen, Dr. Einstein. The fact that I don't enjoy it doesn't matter. So that is, I wish I would go back. उसे लग रहा था why I am caught here with the Einstein and he is questioning me about all my life, or do you have any interest? So instead of that, he wished that he should go downstairs and listen to whatever the music it is going to be played there. And the fact is that he didn't enjoy the music. It doesn't matter there, because instead of standing with Einstein here, it is better to go and listen that music, he thought at that moment. He shook his head and scowled, as though I had introduced an irrelevance. So he shook his head, and there he scowled. Scowled means little bit. He was worried about it. और वो बोला, as though he some irrelevant talks were going on there. As I told that I don't have any interest in the music, so I was feeling awful the whole through my life. So this answer didn't please Albert Einstein. So now he thought that I am talking some irrelevant. He shook his head and scowled. "And tell me, please," he said, "is there any kind of music that you like?" So the next question was, "Any kind of music do you like then?" Well, I answered, "I like songs that have words and the kind of music where I can follow the tune." Now he told, "Yes, I like the songs. And the words are easy where, and the music is also too easy. So I like that music, that song." He smiled and nodded, obviously pleased. "You can give me an example, perhaps?" Now he asked, "Can you give me the example of that song?" Well, I ventured almost anything by Bing Crosby. So I ventured. Ventured means a new activity now was there. Now I have to go. I have to sing for this man. So almost anything by Bing Crosby. That is again the musician. So he nodded again briskly. "Good." So he told, "Okay, good. Then sing about the Bing Crosby." He went to a corner of the room, opened a phonograph, and started pulling out records. So now he took out the phonograph. Phonograph, do you know, एक record player होता था, and there was a speaker in that. And he started pulling out records also. I watched him uneasily. At last he beamed. "Ah," he said. So he was also, this writer was also watching what the Einstein is doing. So he took out the record. At last he got that record, and so he shouted, "Ah, I got it," he said. He put the record on, and in a moment the study was filled with the relaxed, lilting strains of Bing Crosby's. So it was the study room. Now, after a moment, this room was filled when the record player started, this room was filled with the relaxed, lilting means a rhythmic music of Bing Crosby's. And when the blue of the night meets the gold of the day. So that was the song there, when the blue of the night meets the gold of the day. Einstein beamed at me and kept time with the stem of his pipe. So Einstein was completely having a watch on this writer, and he was having a pipe in his mouth. After 3 or 4 phrases, he stopped the phonograph. So after 3 or 4 lines there, he stopped the phonograph there. Now he said, "Will you tell me please what you have just heard?" Now Einstein asked the writer to sing the song whatever you have heard. The simplest answer seemed to be sing the lines. So what was the simplest answer? Okay, sing the lines. I did just that, trying desperately to stay on tune and keep my voice from cracking. So he sincerely did that, and he kept on the tune, and he kept his voice from cracking also. So there he actually tried to sing a song. The expression on Einstein's face was like the sunrise. So the expression which I could see on the Einstein face, so it was just a sunrise. Sunrise means there was a ray of hope in him. I could see in his face. You see, he cried with delight when I finished. So when I finished the song, he said with happy, he was filled with the happiness, Einstein, and he said, you see, you do have an ear. You are telling that you were tone deaf? No, not at all. You have the ear, means you can sing a song also, you can understand the song. I mumbled something about this being one of my favorite songs, something I had heard hundreds of times, so that it didn't really prove anything. So here the writer thought this song, as I like this song, so this song I have heard hundreds of times. So it was easy for me to sing a song. So how he could say that I have an ear or I like the music? Nonsense, said Einstein. It proves everything. So Einstein was again, no, it proves everything. Do you remember your first arithmetic lesson in school? Now he came to the arithmetic as he was scientist in arithmetic. So he came to the arithmetics. That was he used to compare all the things with the arithmetic. So do you remember the first lesson in arithmetic? Suppose at your very first contact with numbers, your teacher had ordered you to work out a problem in, say, long division or fractions. Could you have done so? So now there, Einstein is asking, in the very beginning, if you are told to solve these sum and those sum or the word problem and solve the division multiplication, so can you do that? No, you have to learn the things from the basics itself. No, of course not, right? I told, no. How can I do, if I haven't done the basics, then how I can do it? Precisely, Einstein made a triumphant wave with his pipe. Okay, yes, the same, I wanted it. And now his expressions were as he has won. It would have been impossible and you would have reacted in panic. So in the first class, if you were asked to solve the problems, that is multiplication, subtraction, then it would be really a very panic situation. You could have closed your mind to long divisions and fractions. So at that time, if hard problems are given you, at that time you would have closed your mind for that you will not learn mathematics at all. As a result, because of that one small mistake by your teacher, it is possible your whole life would be denied the beauty of the long division and fraction. So if your teacher had given you in the first standard, maybe first KG1, KG2, instead of teaching you with the numbers, if she had given you division and multiplication, then you might have lost interest in the music, and then you can't understand the beauty of the division and the fractions. So at that time only it will be irritating to you. The pipe stem went up and out in another way. So when he was talking, Einstein, the pipe also moved here and there. But on your first day, no teacher would be so foolish. But on the first day, they are not going to teach you multiplication and division. He would start you with elementary things. Then when you had acquired skill with the simplest problems, he would lead you up to long divisions and to fractions. So basic padhange, elementary things they will teach you. They will first make you contact with the numbers, then how to add the numbers, addition will be taught you first. And then slowly the process will go on to the further advancement. So then later on you will be led to the divisions and the fractions, but on the first day you will not at all be taught the divisions and the fractions. So it is with music. Einstein picked up the Bing Crosby record. Now he picked up the record, so it is with the music also the same thing. He would start you with elementary things, then when you had acquired skill with the simplest problems, he would lead you up to, so that is उन्होंने कहा, now this is the cases with the music. So here again, Einstein picked up a Bing Crosby's record. This simple, charming little song is like simple addition or subtraction. So he picked up this record and told that this was the simplest addition or subtraction problem, as so it was that song. You have mastered it. Now we go on to the something more complicated. So now we should move to little bit complicated. This was the simple and you were able to grasp it. He found another record and set it going. Now again he searched out the record, Einstein, and then put on there. The golden voice of John McCormack singing the trumpeter filled the room. And here the golden voice of McCormack, the trumpeter, it filled up the room there. After a few lines, Einstein stopped the record. So again after the few lines here, Einstein stopped the record. So he said, you will sing that back to me, please. So again, he asked the writer to sing that little bit difficult song. I did with a good deal of self-consciousness, but with, for me, a surprising degree of accuracy. So I did it, and with the self-consciousness, I was a little bit conscious that I shouldn't miss the track there. But surprisingly, I sang it accurately. Einstein stared at me with a look on his face that I had seen only once before in my life, on the face of my father, as he listened to me deliver the valedictory address at my high school graduation. So he told me, Einstein here stared at him, looked at him. So in his face, he remembered the look of his father when he listened on the speech, goodbye speech, farewell speech. When he spoke in the school graduation, the speech was very nice and his father's face lightened up. So the Einstein face also here started shining. Excellent, Einstein remarked when I finished. Wonderful now this. Well, excellent, yes, wonderful. This proved to be the Caruso involved to me a completely unrecognizable fragment from Cavalleria Rusticana. Nevertheless, I managed to reproduce an approximation of the sounds the famous tenor had made. So this proved that I can sing the song of any Caruso in what was to me completely unrecognizable. So which was he even couldn't identify the songs. That songs he started singing there, and there was a fragment from the Cavalleria Rusticana. So there was a mixture of that musician also. Nevertheless, I managed to reproduce an approximation of the sounds of the famous tenor had made. So I also started singing in the same tone, in the same noise as the singer had done. And in this way, I started singing. Einstein beamed his approval. So Einstein was happy with this approval. So shall we continue tomorrow also? The next class, okay, have you understood?